Hello everyone, this is Dr. Atish Dharyapurkar from IIIT Nagpur. In this session, we will discuss about the course Electronic Engineering Materials. Every engineer, electrical, electronics, computer, mechanical, civil or other, is concerned with the materials available to him. Whether the product is an electrical machine, an electronic device, a computer, a space vehicle, an automobiles or bridge, he must an intimate knowledge of the properties and behavioral characteristic of the materials he proposed to use. In making his choice, the engineer must understand the basic of the materials. It is worthwhile to look into the history of the development of the materials, present status and its application. Before going to start this session or course, I would like to give answer of your few questions which might be in your mind, such as how it will help you to boost your knowledge, how it will help you in professional career, and how you will learn what you will learn in this course. So this is the course information. The credit course, this is a 3 credit course. A type of course is course engineering, and you should have a basic knowledge of few physics concepts. The course outcome. Now if I will ask the questions, what are electronic materials, why they behave the way they do, where are they used, why are they used, what are the applications of the materials. So if you are not able to answer this question, then this course will help you to find out the answer of these questions. So what is course outcome? This course introduces the fundamental of various materials used for making electronic devices. This course cover the concept of various properties of the materials and their application in designing electronic device and components. At the end, you will be able to understand the behavior of various materials towards developing various sensor, conducting materials, semiconducting materials, magnetic materials, etc. Course content. What we are going to cover in this course. The first materials which we are going to cover, that is a dielectric materials. In this content we will learn what is dielectric materials, how it behave in static field and the alternating field, what is the dielectric constant, what is dielectric clocks, what is piezoelectric, pyroelectric and ferroelectric materials, and few applications of these dielectric materials. Then we will see magnetic materials. In this we will learn what is magnetic materials, how many types of magnetic materials are there, ferrites, magnetic core transformer, relay, memory elements, magnetic resistor and magnetic tapes are the applications which we are going to discuss in this course. Then multiferroic materials. Multiferroic materials is the materials which exhibits the electrical and magnetic properties simultaneously, which has been investigated recently. Conductive materials and superconducting materials. How many types of superconducting materials are there, why they are superconductors, and what are the application of superconducting. So this is the course content of this course. Now you can refer few books by for this course, Electrical Engineering Materials by A.J. Decker, a course in Electrical Engineering Materials by S.V. Seth, Principle of Electronic Materials and Devices by S.O. Kashyap, and you can refer the solid state physics of different authors, and one of the course which is in the NPTEL course, that is Electroceramic, which is by Professor Ashish Garg, that you can refer to have a better understanding of the concepts. Now this is the instructions for the IIIT Nagpur students, the offline exam mode and online exam mode. In online exam mode, we have a teacher assessment of 20 marks, then sessional exam of 30 marks which is of MCQ type, then objective, that is the MCQ end sem exam which is of 20 marks, and subjective end sem exam which is of 30 marks. If you are watching this course online, then you should have a pen and notebook with you to take the notes. It will help to understand the course in a better way. Now before start the course, we should know some concepts. We should have some basic understanding. atoms, atomic structure and electronic configuration of atoms, atomic arrangement in solids, types of chemical bonds and classification of solids, crystal structure, classification of engineering materials, etc. So we will start from the atoms. First theory, it is very interesting to know the history of the atoms. The first theory about the atom was reported by John Dalton in 1803. His theory stated that an atom are individual, those of a given element are identical, and compounds are combination of different types of atoms. The second model was predicted by J.J. Thomson in 1904. He considered the atom as compound of electrons scattered throughout a spherical cloud of positive charge. After that, Rutherford performed the experiments to reveal the atom structure. He fired a positive charge alpha particles at a thin sheet of gold foils, and he observed that most of them passed through with the little deflection, but some deflected at a large angles. This was only possible if the atom was mostly empty space with the positive charge concentrated in the center of this nucleus. Further, in 1930, Niels Bohr modified the Rutherford theory. According to him, electrons move around the nucleus in the orbit of fixed size and energy. Energy of the nuclear electron in this model is quantized. Electrons could not occupy value of energy of fixed energy level, and this is widely accepted classical picture of atoms. Quantum picture of atom was explained by Schrödinger in 1926. According to him, electrons don't move in the set of path around the nucleus but in waves. It is impossible to know the exact position and momentum of electrons in the atom according to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Instead, we have a cloud of probability called orbitals, in which we are more likely to find an electron. So, widely accepted definition of the atoms is that atom consists of positive charge nucleus in the center, at the center, and the negative charge electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Then you all know the wave particle duality. Now since electrons or any moving particle exhibits wave nature, electrons also exhibits the wave nature. So electrons behave more like a wave on a vibrating string than like a particles. The wavelength of the electrons or moving particles is given by lambda is equal to h by p, where this lambda is known as the wavelength, this p is nothing but a momentum of the particle, and h is the Planck's constant. Now according to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, we cannot determine the position and momentum of the particle exactly and simultaneously. Now quantum numbers, how we can represent the state of the electrons. So we need 4 quantum numbers to represent the state of the electrons. The first quantum number is principal quantum number. The first quantum number is principal quantum number. The symbol is n. Now the allowed value for this quantum number is 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Now it represents the orbital size and energy levels. Then second quantum number is or azimuthal quantum number, which is represented by this L. Now this is the integer value which will vary from 0 to n minus 1. Now it represents orbital shape, that is sublevels and subcells. Then the third quantum number is magnetic quantum number. This can be represented by ML. The total value of magnetic quantum number is 2L plus 1. Now it is the integer value varies from minus L to plus L, and it represents orbital orientation. Then the fourth quantum number is spin quantum number. It is represented by this MS. The values, allowed values for the spin quantum number is plus and a minus half. Now it represents the electron spin direction. It represents the electron spin direction. Now to understand this 4 quantum number, we will consider the example of the electrons which is in the fourth cell. For the electrons in the fourth cell, the principal quantum number will be 4. The principal quantum number will be 4. Then orbital quantum number will be 0, 1, 2, 3. Then magnetic quantum number or energy levels S, P, D, F. and for each sublevels the magnetic quantum numbers will be ml and ms is represented in the chapter in this table. Now the energy sublevels, you know that S, P, D, F. So ml for the energy sublevel S, that is 0, and we have a magnetic spin quantum number plus and half minus half. So for energy sublevel S, we have a total state 2. Similarly for P we have a 6, D 10, F 4. So total we have a total number of states we have 32 for the electrons in the fourth state. Now what will happen when atoms will come together and form a solid? Because if we will consider the atoms, then we know that in the center we have a positive nucleus and surrounding we have electrons revolving around the nucleus, and it has a different energy levels. Now when atoms combine together and form a solid, then when a large number of atoms combine to form a large aggregated molecule, aggregates molecular orbit merge into an almost continuous band of energy levels. The bottom half called valence band. The bottom half called valence band of the band is composed of bonding molecular orbital and is filled with electrons. The upper half called as a conduction band. A band is composed of anti-bonding molecular orbital and is empty. So we have a valence band and the conduction band. Depending on this band theory, we can distinguish the materials into conductor, semiconductor and insulators. So we will discuss this in detail in the next class. Then the properties of the materials also depends on the bonding structure. Now atoms are rarely found as a free and independent unit, but usually are linked or bonded to other atoms in some manner as a result of interatomic forces. Now these binding forces between the atoms are called as the chemical bonds. These bonds are made up of attractive and the repulsive forces that tends to hold the atoms. Now according to the strength, chemical bonds are grouped into ionic bond, covalent bond, metallic bonds. This is the primary bonds. And then we have a secondary bonds which are the weaker bond, van der Waals bond and the hydrogen bonds. Now we will consider ionic bonds. Now moderate to high strength, it has a moderate to high strength, high hardness, brittleness, high melting points and are good chemical and thermal insulator because of almost all the electrons are bound closely to particular ions, leaving very few free electrons available for conduction. Then we have a covalent bonds. Covalent bonds are formed by the electron share. It is observed in N2, HF, diamond, etc. Materials are usually high strength and high melting points. Electrical conductivity depends on the bond strength ranging from conductive tin through semiconductive silicon and germanium to insulating diamond. These materials tend to ceramic or polymer in nature. Then we have a metallic bond. Metallic bonds form when each of the atom of the metal contributes its valence electron to the formation of an electron cloud that pervades the solid metals. The materials having metallic bonds are highly thermal and electrical conducting as well as the opaque optical properties because of the presence of highly mobile free electrons. Now secondary bond types, van der Waals forces can link molecules that possess a non-symmetric distribution of charge. Hydrogen fluoride and water exhibits the bond in which the negative parts of one molecule tends to attract the positive parts of another to form a weak bond. These materials are poor conductors of heat and electricity because they do not contain any free electrons either. Hydrogen bond in which a small hydrogen nucleus is simultaneously attracted to the negative electrons of two atoms and thereby forming a three atoms link. Such a bond play a significant role in biological system, but all the secondary bonds are rarely of engineering significance. So major bond on which the properties are depends are the ionic bond, covalent bond and metallic bond. We will see the properties of the materials depends on the bond structure. For if you have a ionic bonds, then that materials are electrically conductive, If molten, brittle, usually crystalline and having a high melting point. If you have a metallic bonds, usually metals consist of metallic bonds, so it is highly electrically conductive and heat conductive. It is a good conductor of electricity and heat. Then it is a malleable and ductile. Then it is very hard, and it has a medium to high melting points. Then we have a molecular bonding structure material. It is non-conductive, amorphous, non-crystalline usually, low melting point, having a low melting point. Then we have a covalent bond structure material. Sometimes it is conductive, sometimes it is insulator. It depends on the strength of the bond. Also, it is rigid to flexible, pattern specially bonds and medium to high melting points. Now, atomic arrangement in materials. Now, arrangement of the atoms in material has a significant property. Depending upon the manner of atomic grouping and range of order, materials are classified as molecular, molecular structure, then amorphous structure, then crystalline structure, single crystal. Now, molecular structure have a distinct number of atoms that are held together by primary bonds, but they have only relative weak bonds with other similar group of atoms. Typical example of molecular includes O2, H2O and C2H4. Now, amorphous structure, if we consider the amorphous structure, then these atoms have a certain degree of these atoms have a certain degree of local order, but when viewed as an aggregate have a more disorganized atom arrangement than the crystalline solid. Now, if we consider the crystalline solid, if you consider the crystalline solid, then in crystalline structure there is a regular periodic arrangement of atoms. There is a regular periodic arrangement of atoms. Now, this is divided by the grains and grain boundaries. This is a short range order materials. If you consider a single crystal, then in single crystal we have a total yes. So in single crystal materials are a long range order, means it has a single order throughout the materials, that is known as the single crystals. So depending on the range of the order of the materials, we have a different type of structure materials: molecular structure, amorphous structure, crystalline structure and the single crystal structure. Now, crystal structure also affect the material properties. Metals are the most important class of materials used in various engineering applications, and these materials have a metallic bond. Now they have a high strength, good electrical and thermal conductivity and ability to deform permanently to fair degree with fracturing. So metal are known to solidify into 14 different structures. However, nearly all the important commercial metals solidify into 4 type of lattice as shown in figure. Now it is simple cubic, body center, face center and hexagonal closed pack structure. Okay. So this chart summarizes the all crystal structure. Now depending on the position of atoms, we have a simple cubic, body center and face center crystal structure. Now the basic unit cell define the crystal structure, and unit cell is described by the 6 parameters that is known as lattice parameter. A, B, C, that is the distance along the 3 respective axes, and alpha, beta, gamma are the angles between them. So depending on the combination of parameter, we have a 7 type of crystal system. We have a cubic, tetragonal, orthorhombic, monoclinic, trigonal, triclinic and hexagonal. Now, for a simple cubic, you know that simple cubic is the highly symmetric crystal structure which has a lattice parameter A equal to B equal to C, alpha equal to beta is equal to gamma is equal to 90 degree, and highly asymmetric crystal structure is a triclinic that has a parameters A is not equal to B is not equal to C, alpha is not equal to beta is not equal to gamma is not equal to 90 degree. So depending on the bond, depending on the crystal structure, depending on the band structures, we have a different type of. Now, a large variety of materials are used for the manufacture of electrical and electronic equipments. Depending on the properties, these materials are classified as listed: metal, insulator, semiconductor, dielectric materials, ferroelectric materials, piezoelectric materials, pyroelectric materials, magnetic materials, superconductor materials, multiferric materials. So when you consider these materials, you will see a lot of a variety of applications around us. Now, one of the responsibility of an engineer is to choose the appropriate material for an application. To fulfill this responsibility, the engineer must have a thorough understanding of nature and behavior of various materials. The physics, properties and application of different materials must be used. This purpose will be fulfilled by this course and hope you will enjoy this course. Thank you very much.